What if I told you something no one has dared to say out loud? You might be burned out, and you don't even know it, because burnout doesn't always come crashing down like a storm. Sometimes it creeps in like a shadow, quiet, invisible, normal. You wake up tired, even after sleeping. You scroll mindlessly, not for fun, but to escape. You say, "I'm fine," but you haven't felt fine in months. You go through the motions, work, eat, pretend to laugh. But deep down, everything feels gray. You think it's just a phase. You think everyone feels like this. You tell yourself you're just being dramatic. But what if this numbness, this emptiness, is your soul trying to scream through the silence? Burnout isn't always the fire. Sometimes it's the ashes, the quiet aftermath of too much giving, too much pleasing, too much pretending. And the cruelest part, you built this prison yourself, with every yes you didn't mean, with every boundary you erased to be liked, with every time you ignored your own needs just to keep the peace. You've become a ghost wearing a smile. You show up, you perform, you meet deadlines, but somewhere along the way, you lost the why behind it all. And now even the things you used to love feel distant. The music that once moved you now feels flat. The people who once inspired you now drain you. The goals you once chased now feel meaningless because you've been running on empty for so long. You forgot what it feels like to be full, to be lit from within, to be alive, not just functioning. They told you to work hard, to be productive, to hustle. They sold you the dream of success. But they never warned you that in chasing it, you might lose yourself. But here's the truth they don't want to say. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you, my friend, you've been empty for a long time. That fatigue, it's not just physical. It's your spirit waving a white flag. It's your inner child sitting in the corner, tired of begging for your attention. You've spent years climbing ladders placed against the wrong walls, chasing achievements that don't feed you, living days that don't belong to you, and now the cost is showing. Because burnout isn't always collapsing in tears. Sometimes it's just not caring anymore, not dreaming anymore, not feeling anything at all. You see, you were taught to keep going, to stay strong, to be the reliable one. But what they didn't teach you is that even strength has a breaking point. You're not weak for needing rest. You're not broken because you feel lost. You're human, and humans aren't meant to be machines. So what do you do now? You stop. Not forever, but long enough to hear your own voice again, long enough to ask, is this the life I chose, or just the one I ended up in? You start listening to the whispers you've been silencing, that urge to slow down, that dream you buried under practicality, that truth you've been afraid to speak out loud. You stop apologizing for needing space. You stop measuring your worth in productivity. You stop letting guilt convince you that rest is laziness. Burnout doesn't go away by pushing harder. It heals in stillness, in honesty, in reconnecting with who you were before the world told you who to be. Take a walk with no destination. Sleep without shame. Create something, not for money, not for likes, just for you. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Say no more often. Say yes to yourself. And slowly, you'll remember what joy feels like, what peace feels like, what you feel like. You don't have to burn your life down to start over. You just have to come back home to yourself, to the soft, quiet space where your soul still waits for you. So now I ask you, are you ready to stop surviving and finally start living? Because the truth is, you don't need permission to heal. You don't need to earn your rest. You just need the courage to say, I matter too. And that, right there, is where burnout ends and freedom begins. But healing is not always loud. It doesn't come with fireworks or sudden breakthroughs. It often arrives in whispers, in choosing water instead of caffeine, in turning off your phone for a moment of silence, in saying, "I'm tired," without apologizing for it. It comes in small rebellions against the version of you that only knew how to please, produce, and perform. It's waking up one day and realizing you don't need to earn your existence. You don't need to carry the weight of the world to prove you're worthy of love. You are already enough. Without the titles, without the trophies, without the constant self-sacrifice. You've carried so much for so long. But now, it's okay to put it down. Let the tears fall, if they come. Let the silence sit with you. Let the truth be heavier than the lies you've been fed. You don't need to go back to who you were. You're not meant to. You're meant to become the version of you who lives with intention, who rests without guilt, who says yes to peace even when the world calls it weakness. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover that the life you've always wanted was never about doing more, but about being more present in what already surrounds you. So if you're burned out, know this: you are not alone. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are simply being called to come home, to yourself, to your truth, to your heart. Breathe, feel, and begin again.